Hi, my name is Penny, and this is Open Hand Farm. Last summer, I had COVID, and it was during a week that we were supposed to go on vacation because my husband had the week available before he had to start back on campus with his school. I did a video entitled COVID Instead of Vacation. But I did it knowing that a lot of people have suffered through this COVID period, and my heart goes out to all of you. My reason for doing the video was to show that no matter what our circumstances and our situation is, we need to live life to its fullest. The reason I'm playing that video right now is because even as you're watching this, I am having surgery on my ankle to clean out some infection so that a wound will heal. I've been dealing with it since June, and I'm just ready to be done. This video will be showing some of the things I will probably be doing the next couple of weeks. So I decided this was the perfect time to play it. I hope you enjoy. And blessings on all of you who have lost loved ones or have struggled severely through the past year.
Here is the room I was quarantined in. For those of you who know me, you will see I have the most important thing, which is my coffee pot. Luckily, I am the only one in the house that drinks coffee. I do have to say that I had no idea how hard and uncomfortable this bed was. Even with 500 pillows, I had to order a foam topper so that I could sleep on it. Of course, I also had my computer close at hand, and on around the corner where you can see the vitamin bottles, I have a TV. I realize I am very blessed to have this space to quarantine in. When I was first diagnosed, my husband was self-isolating. A sweet friend of mine who went to the store for me since she knew what supplements I needed. She, of course, included a sweet card to encourage me through my quarantine. Along with those supplements, I also used elderberry syrup, echinacea tincture, and yarrow tea. Earlier in the summer, I had signed up to participate in an online communicators conference called She Speaks. I had not taken the time to sit and listen to any of the presenters, so I was anxious to listen and take notes from some amazing speakers. One thing about being quarantined, you don't get people popping in to see what you're doing. It is quiet, and a lot of intensive thinking can be done. Some of the topics for the conference were technology, creating content, and one that I needed before starting my channel, finding courage. I was also able to take some time to do some research on setting up a frame for our rabbits. We are going to move our rabbits to the chicken run and needed to get some ideas of how to frame the existing cages so that we don't have to stack them like they are right now. I love learning on YouTube, especially when I find the exact thing I'm looking for. We also had been looking for ways to use whole grains for our chicken feed instead of buying pellets. On YouTube, again, I found several helpful videos and recipes, as well as information on grains and their protein content. Some of the YouTubers were mixing more than we would need for our flock, but the recipe could be adjusted. We also decided to feed our rabbits whole grains, so I had a lot of figuring to do. Now that I had recipes and knew the quantities, I needed to find the best place to buy all the grains. After calling different feed stores in the area and researching online, I found the best prices at an online company called Azure Standard. I checked out what other people were saying about Azure Standard, and it seems to be a win all the way around. If you haven't heard of them, you might want to check them out. They are an online store that sells affordable, organic, natural and non-GMO products of all types. No, they are not paying me to tell you that. You can have your items delivered to your house, or you can have them brought to a drop site once a month for a cheaper delivery fee. This is what we did. We bought 430 pounds of grains and only paid $24 for delivery. I thought that was great. The drop went very well, and all the other customers were very helpful and friendly. I don't want you to think that all I did was glue myself to a screen. We have a big front porch, so my husband and I would go out there to eat dinner together. He would sit at the table, and I would sit way over here in a rocking chair. One night, a dear friend brought me a Mexican meal, and we ate the same way. Part of our nightly routine is that my husband and I read a chapter of the Bible together and have prayer before we go to sleep. Because we couldn't be in the same room, we went out on the porch to share that time together each evening as well. We loved that routine and didn't want to ignore it. I am a gardener, and there were several things that needed to be tended to even though I was sick. Much of my time was spent outside working. Of course, I was sick, so my energy level was a little lacking, but I felt pretty good other than that. A friend suggested a book, so I listened to Cold Mountain while I worked. I also spent time just sitting in my garden watching the chickens, who were kind enough to start laying eggs that week, at least the white ones. One of my favorite things is feeding the rabbits. They love getting their kale, basil, parsley, and raspberry leaves. Because I tested positive with the virus and my husband didn't, he was home for one more week. Even though we had a lot of projects that we wanted to get done, we were unable to work on them together. That was frustrating. So, like a good wife, I watched my husband work on the chicken yard roof. From a distance, of course. I wasn't the only one, though. It seems one of the chickens wanted to make sure everything was done correctly. Like I said earlier, just because I was sick didn't mean there weren't jobs that needed to be done. I needed to start seedlings for broccoli and cauliflower and more kale before it got too late in the season. So one afternoon, I told everyone to stay out of the basement, and I put on my mask and planted 2 trays of seeds and put them in my light box. On Sunday mornings, I would find a new place to go where my husband wasn't so that I could feel like I was going to church. Of course, I was watching live on Facebook, but at least I could read comments from people and feel like I was interacting. My favorite place in our house is the attic, so in the cool of the morning, it was perfect to sing and worship and listen to God's Word. I'm not much of a movie watcher, but when you are confined to a room, you have to do something. I searched the internet for Christian movies streaming now and found 2 movies on Netflix that were very good. They were The Resurrection of Gavin Stone and Blue Miracle. If you haven't seen them, you might want to check them out. There were times when I was home alone, so I would put on my mask and go to the kitchen and get caught up on some things there. I can keep my sourdough starter in the fridge for a week, but after that, I needed to feed it. So why not make some bread, right? I made banana bread when no one was home, and then for the sourdough loaves, I mixed it up late at night and let it sit overnight, and then baked it early in the morning before my husband got up so that we didn't spend time in the kitchen together. I also had cucumbers from the garden that needed to be used, so I made fermented pickles with honey, turmeric, garlic, and ginger. They are so very good. It was also time to make more kombucha. So, while I was at it, I got it done. I must say, a couple weeks later, it was good and fizzy, just the way I like it. 10 days after my positive diagnosis, which was 5 days after my direct exposure and initial negative test, that started my self isolation, I tested with a home test to see if I could enter the world again. The home test is something like a pregnancy test, only with a nose swab instead of urine. As I sat for 15 minutes with a heavy heart, assuming I would see a second pink line, as I had done a few days earlier, that extra line never came. I was negative. I texted some of my family and closest friends, and here are a couple of their responses. I laughed so hard and was so glad that we could now get together and get life back to normal. So now I put my computer back where it belongs, put the coffee pot back in the kitchen. I cleaned all the bedding, washed every surface I had touched, and put the spare room back together until the next time it would be needed. I thanked it for allowing me this time and thanked God that my husband never got the virus and my time with it was exceptionally easy. For all of you who have suffered and lost loved ones through this virus period, I extend my deepest sympathy for you. I too have known those who would have been thrilled to simply give up a vacation instead of what they have been through. I in no way want to make light of other people's pain. My prayers are with you all. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And please push the share button. Blessings to you all. Until next time.